Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to raising cows in Farming Simulator 25. This is going to cover cows for all platforms, again, and also this is base game stuff. There's no mods or anything like that. This is just the base game. There are time codes down below if you want to skip to a specific topic, and I'll talk about what those topics are here in a second. And also note that I do tend to talk a little fast, so if you need to slow me down, you can do that down below using the YouTube controls. And if there's anything critical that I missed in this tutorial video, it'll be located in the first pinned comment by me down below to help you guys out. But what we are going to cover in this video, we're going to cover animal pens for cows, how to buy cows, caring for cows, waste products that cows produce, cow's milk, and selling cows. Those are all the different topics we're going to cover, so you should have pretty much an overview of everything. So first off, placing cow pens. This is kind of the first big thing here, and this is different from Farming Simulator 22. If we go into the build mode, and again, this is all platforms, go to the animals tab, and cows are right here. Now, these also double as pens for water buffalo. So base game, we have 6 pens. The first 3 right here are only, it'll say, attention, this is a breeding barn, therefore milk production is not possible. So the first 3, you cannot produce milk. These 2 are cow barns. This is your only pasture here. So a pasture, you have to provide water to. The barns will automatically get water themselves and bill you for it because we're just assuming they have a tap. It doesn't cost very much, don't worry. So it doesn't really matter a whole lot. But you have those guys right there. And then we have, of course, the cow barn larges down here. And if you looked at the menu for these guys, I can go ahead and place one down here for you. We'll just place the pasture, actually. So if I place a pasture right here, this will happen for any barn you place as well for cows. It'll say, do you want to customize the fence? I'm going to say no for now, and then it'll ask, do you want to plant meadow for the cow pasture? I would say yes to that. And what it does is gives you the green grass texture. If you don't do that, I'll show you what happens if you don't. We'll place this guy down over here. That'll be fine. We're going to place a couple of barns. If we place this guy down over here, and we say, no, we don't want to customize the fence, we want to plant meadow, we just say no, it's going to just leave it as that concrete there. Now, if I place another one of these guys over here and I want to put more cows in it, because you can see these guys will tell you how many cows they're going to hold down here, and that is with the fixed amount right there. If you just place it, you don't customize it, that's what you're going to get. But if I say yes to this, I can make a custom pasture. So if I make an absolute massive pasture, going around, who knows how I want to do it on here. But if I make an absolutely massive pasture, close it up over there at this other side, and say, yeah, I'll say, yeah, sure, plant a meadow down there. If we go up to this cow barn over here, instead of the 50 cows, which is advertised that it will hold, it's going to hold likely a lot more. So here we go, 461. Now, the only caution with that is when we do go eventually to feed the animals in here, the amount of food they could hold total does not change based on the pasture size, so just be aware of that. Now, the other thing that is new for farming simulators, if we go in here, the animal pens that do have the pasture will have meadows show up in them. You can see meadows at the bottom of all of these. The ones that we told them to make a pasture, so the pasture over there and then this barn over here, not this one, these 2 will have pasture in there or have meadow in there for the cows to eat. Now, the meadow is extremely ineffective. You can see it's only 40% effective, so it basically is useless for your cows. I'd actually recommend using it until it gets fixed or something changes with it. It just is useless. But also note, too, that your meadow will not populate till midnight. So if we sleep around the clock here, if I actually just go and we skip through the night, you'll be able to see that the meadow is going to populate in the morning. Now, those are kind of the basic things for the different types of pens and placing pens. And so the next thing we're going to kind of talk about is buying cows, because that's kind of the next thing we need to talk about. So you can either go and pick up the cows yourself, or you can pay to have them delivered to your farm. There's no animation for that or anything like that. They just appear, but you're paying a delivery fee because they essentially have to be delivered to your farm. So now if we go on the menu here, you can see our cow barns have meadow, which that's a big barn there, so it has a lot. This is the small pasture, so it has a little. It is dependent on your pasture how much you have. Also note, though, that still doesn't mean your overall feed capacity is that. There's still only so much the barn can hold, and we'll show that off here in a second. So now when it comes to buying animals, you can go to the animal again, like I said, you can transport them yourselves. If we go up here, the animal dealers, we'll just visit that. The animal dealers right here, there's a little icon for it right over there, this little icon here. We can take an animal trailer like this one, and we can drive over the point to buy it. You can use various animal transports in the menu here. If we go down to animals down at the bottom, animal transport, this only does horses. This one will do 6 cows, and this one will do 12 cows at a time. That also means water buffalo. They'll also do water buffalo. Just want to note that as well. Cows are essentially the same as water buffalo in almost every way. So if you see my water buffalo video, a lot of this is going to be similar to you. But you can come in here and you can choose. Now, when you choose, you can choose either them to be 0 months old, so just babies, or they can be youth, or they can be adults. So it's kind of what you want to do. They all will produce essentially the same things. There's not like a benefit to each one. They're all identical. And then you have water buffalo down here. But you just have to pick what you want. Let's say I wanted some limousine cows, and I could put up to 12 in there and then purchase them. You can see there's no fee. I can just buy them, and then I can drive this over to my farm to put them in. And now I'm just going to tab over to this guy because I already put some cows in here, not limousines actually, but there's 5 cows in here. So what I can do is if I drive up to the icon on the pasture, which you can see is just right there at the very front of the pasture, if I just drive over that with the animal trailer, up in the upper left-hand corner, it says R to open animal dialog. I'll leave that help menu up there if you guys want to peer at it. It'll have all the controls and settings that I'm hitting. If I hit R, I can go ahead and select these guys, and I can move as many as I'd like to into the pasture. And now my trailer is empty, but I have some animals in there. Not sure, they're all black Angus. Not sure why some of them are brown, but anyhow, that is how you do that. Pretty straightforward to move the animals. Now, if you want to just have them transported to your farm, which is what I'm going to do for these 2 pens over here. Actually, we'll just go over to this one. You just have to come up to the animal icon like this, right over here, and I'm going to choose what I want to buy. I'm just going to buy, we'll do black Angus. You can do up to 250 at a time. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put 10 in here just for now. And you can see that the more you transport, this is a $1,000 fee, but the more I transport, the more the fee is. So the fee is going to go up, and you have to pay that when you buy or sell them this way. So there you go. And selling is the same thing. You just do it in reverse. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on as well when it comes to selling animals. So now that we have animals, we need to care for them. So the first and foremost is probably food and water, obviously. So we'll talk about water first. Water's pretty straightforward. I have a truck here. Actually, I'm in the wrong truck. Let's go back over to this one. I have a truck here with a water tanker on the back. Again, if you go in here under barrels, each one of these is capable of hauling water. So pretty straightforward. Any one of them will haul water. I have had issues with this one specifically unloading into animal pens, so beware of that. And then all I have to do is transport this to my animal pen to unload the water. Now, if you have a barn, as I mentioned, you don't have to worry about putting water in. However, this one right here, you can see there is an icon directly in front of the truck right now. That is the water icon. So I need to get this trailer over there. And as soon as it's in the right spot, it will give me an icon at the bottom of the screen in the center to unload. Right there, you see I to dump water. So I'll hit I and I'll unload water in there. And then if we go into the menu here, we can see for our cow pasture, they now have some water in there. So that's slowly going up, which is great. We don't need to put a ton of water in there right now for them. And you can't kill off the animals. I should also note that. If you don't provide them food or water or anything, you're not going to kill them off. They just won't be productive. So just be aware of that. And again, only in these barns over here, not the cow pasture over here, can animals produce milk. So these two, they can produce milk. These 3 right here, they can just breed. So they can still, if you just are not doing cows for the milk, you just want them to reproduce, those pastures are absolutely fantastic for that. And now when it comes to feeding animals or feeding cows, we have a few different options. So I talked about meadow. It's going to be ineffective. Grass, you also can feed them grass, also ineffective. And these don't combine. At least as of when I'm recording this right now, these don't combine, so I can't give them grass plus meadow to get 80% effectiveness. And if I have anything up here, it seems they eat from top to bottom. So if there's total mixed ration here, they'll eat that first and then move their way down. Again, we will do a little test with that because I haven't tested it since they last updated the game. But as of the last time I did all this, it was that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some hay in this one to see if they're eating the hay and the meadow here, or see how that's going to go. Just because I'm kind of curious to get the productivity up. Again, grass, super ineffective. Actually, we might put grass in here to test that out to see if they can combine their effectiveness. Now, for the other ones here, you can see, obviously, silage and hay, both 80%. If you put that in there, they're going to be very productive. Total mixed ration is supposed to be 100%. What I've noticed is TMR and hay and silage, no matter which one of those you give them, it seems to be 100% productive. So we're going to do a little bit of a test of that. If you want to know how to make TMR, I do that in a separate video. It is there's a little bit to it. So it's about a 5 to 10 minute process for me to teach you how to do that. So I didn't put that in this video. But I have some TMR here, which I can feed the animals. It's pretty straightforward to do that. This pen on the left-hand side here with the meadow, we're just going to put the TMR in there to see what happens. Because that way we'll make sure this one's 100% effective. You just got to go open up your door. Somewhere around your cow pen, you'll see that little icon right there, which is where you can feed them. So I'm just going to pull in here. And then once I get in here, I can hit I to start dumping TMR in from my TMR mixer. And again, there are TMR mixers in here. These are the different TMR mixers that you can use. So am I using this one? I believe I'm using that one. Yep, using the Ferris in there. But yep, we can put some TMR in there. Excellent, they're all set. Same thing if you're putting hay or something else in, just drive your truck or whatever it is inside there to get that done, and then you'll be all set. All right, that is the big things for caring for animals. We're going to talk about bedding and waste products here in a second. Oops, didn't mean to put that up there. Straw, there is a capacity for straw. This does not affect their health at all if you have straw in here or not. It just affects what they produce in terms of waste products, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm going to bring you back in after I do a little bit of testing here to see what kind of happens with the feed so we can talk about it. All right, before we get into waste products, we need to finish talking about food here. And I did some good testing, and I thought of another test to do as well. So I did that one as well to make sure I can give you guys the best information. And I found some really good information out. I also want to note, I forgot to mention where you get water. You can either go to like usually, you know, if I go into the build menu here, usually if you go to like a water source, like this is probably not going to work here as a water source, but usually if you go to a water source and you can get it close enough, it'll work. But it may not work. I haven't tested that too much, but usually what will work, because the water sources may or may not work, if you get just this buy point here, you can buy water right there for you. But yeah, that's the easiest way to get water. But now let's talk about the different things for the cows. So we'll talk about that in a second. My other thing I have going on. So obviously our cow pasture, they were eating meadow and grass. They ate the grass first in the meadow. They never accomplished anything in their life. I know they ran out of food, but they never accomplished anything in their life. I was watching them. So the 10 cows that had hay as opposed to TMR, the only difference is, you can see this is a 30% reproduction, this is at 40%. The only reason that's changed is because these guys, the ones that were fed TMR, hit 100% health, which is required for reproduction. They hit it first. So they got up to health first, so therefore they were just a month ahead of reproduction. However, productivity and health are both the same. There's not really another major differences. You can see that they are producing more slurry, so that might be something, as they might be producing more slurry, so they might be producing 20% more slurry than the hay or silage feed. But if you don't care about that, I would say if you are just doing cows for reproduction purposes, you should just do, I would just feed them hay or silage, because that'll be more than enough to get them going. Now, the other thing I want to note too that I just didn't talk about, and should have talked about because it's pretty important. If I come up here, just I want to see the animal menu here, the brown Swiss and the Holsteins will produce milk. The Angus and the Limousine will not. These are just to reproduce, have the animals reproduce, have them as they get older, they grow up in value. You can see the older they get, the more valuable they become. So you can even go in here, you can see these guys are worth now more than when we bought them. So there's that. But you can see their value is the same for how old they are, since they've hit 100% health, since it's tied to that. So then I did a test with 2 separate barns with 1 Holstein in each one. So the dairy variety here with hay, or excuse me, this is TMR. This is hay over here, isn't it? Yep. With hay, the difference was that they, again, just like the Angus, they hit the reproduction second. So they hit 100% health second. And it does say productivity at the top is 100%, but I can tell you from testing and looking at how much milk they produce, and don't ignore this, because this one started producing milk late, but after they were both producing milk, then I saw the difference between, cow 1 and cow 2 for how much they produced. And what I noticed is the cow that was getting fed total mixed ration was producing 20% more milk. So if milk production is really important to you, or you care about that extra 20%, make sure you feed them total mixed ration. If you don't care about the extra 20% and you just want to save some time on feeding them, the hay and silage will be just fine. So that's what I have on their feed. That's what you want to feed them. Just be aware of that. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Now we need to talk about waste products. So I did talk about how if you give them straw, which you just dump the straw in here, by the way. If you give them straw, it gives them bedding here. And there again, it doesn't affect their health or productivity or anything if you give them straw or not. But what it does do, if you give them straw, they will start producing manure instead of slurry. So the 2 byproducts from cows are slurry and manure, which can be used to fertilize or sell or whatever you want to do with them. You also can use them you can use manure in the BGA to process it into biogas and make money that way. So if you want them to produce manure, you need to provide them straw. If you want them to produce slurry, you don't provide them straw. Now this right here, this pipe is how you get slurry out, which you can use if we go into the menu here. Where are we at? Right here. If you can use any slurry tanker to come get that slurry out. You can also use any manure spreader to get the manure out, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. The other thing you can do is you can haul manure with any one of these bulk trailers as well. So if you do start putting straw in there and you want them to produce manure, you now have to go to silo extensions, not silos, silo extensions, and you need to buy this guy right here, the manure heap extension. It will not let you place it just out on its own. It has to be near a barn, and it'll tie to the closest barn. So if I place that one there, that is where all the manure is going to go for these cows if I provide them straw. Now, if I go up over, let's just go into the map here. This will be a little bit quicker for me getting out there. If I just go visit place here, if I go up to the manure here, I can just pull right here under this with those trailers and hit R to refill and get the manure out, or I can scoop it out of here with like a bucket or something like that. So you can do that. Either way works, like a front loader bucket, I should say, not like a hand bucket. But those are the two kind of ways to get manure out of there. But yeah, so it's kind of up to you if you want to use it or not. You can also sell it. If you look in the sell prices, there should be some places that will take manure and slurry. Where are we at here? Here's S down here. So slurry, yep, you can sell it off at the biogas plant. So again, it's not worth very much, but you can sell that off as a byproduct. So now let's talk about the products that we get. So if you're doing dairy cattle, you will get milk from them, and the milk is transported. Well, first off, I can say where you get the milk. This little icon on the side of the barn is where you're gonna get your milk out of. Because if we open this door here, that's where your milk tank is at. So that's where you're gonna get your milk out of. You transport cow's milk using a tanker, which if we go back down to the animal category here, under barrels, these both will haul milk. They'll haul either milk or buffalo milk. So buffalo milk and milk, it is hauled like that. And that's the raw form of it. So that's the raw form of it. You then can take it to either sell it. So if we go into the menu here, and I go to just milk in here, I can sell the milk. So milk is cow's milk, just regular milk. And then buffalo milk, for example, and goat's milk will be specified as buffalo or goat's milk. So I could just take it to that sell point and sell it. And again, you can use that tanker to do that, or you can build a production and you can produce bottled milk and cheese and butter and other things like that. So I'm not going to go into productions today because that's a lot. So it's a lot for this video. But yeah, that's how you do it. And the other way you can make money off of cows is selling the cows, which is pretty straightforward. Again, if I wanted to sell this cow off, I come in here, hit the output, click on this, I can sell it off. There is a delivery fee to transport them this way, which you can sell off doing that. Or if I go back into this guy right here, and I pull over the sell point, and I wanted to sell the cows I bought earlier, I can sell them all, and there's no fee to sell them back. Notice, if you buy them, you are going to take a little bit of a loss if you sell them immediately back. So just be aware of that. But yeah, that's how you buy and sell cows as well. And that's kind of the last aspect of it. I will do a separate video on the productions, on total mixed ration, and I'll do a separate video on the auto feed cow barn, which I don't know if I talked about that at all in here. There is a cow barn in here at the bottom. Just get away from that, it's very loud. That if you place it down, it'll automatically mix the total mixed ration for you and feed your cows, which is pretty great. So again, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. So anyhow, that's what I got for you guys. If you guys enjoyed, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and for watching.